The economy moved out of recession with 0.55% growth in the second quarter of 2017. The quarter 2 2017 growth was a welcome development from the consecutive decline experienced from quarter 1 2016 up until quarter 1 2017. The economic recovery was driven primarily by activities in four main sectors: oil, agriculture, manufacturing, and trade. The oil sector recovered quarter 2 2016 low of 11.63% to 1.64% in quarter 2 2017. Sustaining quarter 2 2017 recovery was supported by a rebound in the oil sector indices, particularly due to improved production capacity from 1.3 million barrels per day to an average of 2 million barrels per day. Well, interesting one there. Well, I have with me in the studio an economist, Osilama Okuofu. He's going to be talking more about this development all through the year. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let me start this way. More of this, let's look away from the figures now. Nigerians want to really see this translating into bringing food to their table. What do you make of activities on the business sector? We've moved out of recession, but many still target that it's a marginal growth. What do you make of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a positive thing. We've moved out of recession according to the figures that we're getting from the Office of Statistics, the National Bureau for Statistics. And like I said, it's a positive indication. What that essentially means is there will be a lot of economic activities taking place. Business activities would get the necessary kicker because confidence, would actually come back. You can actually see that being translated in the stock market. There has been a spike in activities. The indices are looking pretty good, and the best way for you to measure the growth or lack of it in an economy is from the stock market. So that is good. However, we hope and do expect that more policies and actions will be taken by the government to engender more, more business activities by way of huge government spending. Happily, the federal government has declared that they are going to spend 750 billion naira or thereabout for capital expenditure. Which is really that gladdens my heart because it's something that I've actually advocated. What that means is, there'll be a lot of infrastructural development, our roads, our schools, our hospitals, and in the process, jobs will be created. So that, of course, it will equally translate into, increased purchasing, power and activities, which will translate into more production, along the lines. So, I mean, it's a chain, and I've always said that the government drives economic activities in Nigeria, most especially given the fact that we are an emerging economy. And the decision, therefore, the signaling to do that will in itself create a lot of buzz, because what that means is certain business concerns, both local and international, who probably have been waiting in the wings to see what's going to happen. They probably will now want to come in and position themselves for for that to happen.
Now, this argument that the growth is majorly at this time driven by proceeds from crude oil sales. Even in the report, 1.3 million to about 2 million barrels now per day is still an argument that experts have been, mixed reactions have trailed this, that it's not all inclusive.
It's not all inclusive, but I mean, the oil drives our economy. Whether we like it or not, we are essentially a monoproduct economy. But I mean, that's where the argument for diversification comes in, and the government is projecting quite a lot of income from the non-oil sector. I'm talking about the 2018 budget now, 2 point something trillion for for oil and over 4 trillion for the non-oil sector, which is good. It's quite ambitious, but it's achievable. What is fundamental is understanding the fact that when you set certain targets ahead of you, you work systematically towards attaining those targets, then it's doable.
But talking about achieving these standards now, let's look away now, agriculture, manufacturing. Even bank CEOs over the weekend, they've come out to say, yes, support for agriculture has to be improved. Talking about the percentage or rates of getting funds, loans, and all of that. What do you really think about our agricultural sector? Many said we should be expecting a harvest, a bountiful harvest at this time, and there should be a drop because, you know, the inflation has not really dropped when it comes to food prices. But we are not seeing that. What is happening?
Well, I hope that we've manufactured enough bags to bag the rice. I remember the Minister for Agriculture said we have rice, but no bags to bag them. I mean, it's Christmas time, so we need to have we need to have rice, you know, deployed into the market. That aside, agriculture. That aside, agriculture is pretty key to any economy, because food sufficiency is something that you don't trifle with. No matter how much oil we produce, you know, daily, even if it's 3 million barrels per day, if you don't have, you know, enough food to eat, and even export, you know, you can't actually say that economy is, you know, is a buoyant economy, you know. So it's one area we really need to look at. We need to progress, you know, towards. I know that the last Minister for Agriculture, who is now the ADB president, right, started quite some good things in that direction. And I'm glad that there's been a follow-through, you know, by the current Minister for Agriculture, you know. So, I mean, that's what governance is about. It's a continuum. There are certain things you don't play politics with. Agriculture is something you don't play politics, just like security and defense, you know. So I want to key into the vision of the government, saying that we want to go towards this area, agriculture, and then mining as well. You know, the truth really is, I mean, we're already seeing studies and reports indicating that oil, at some point, I mean, in the nearest future, will become, you know, something that, I mean, it becomes something that people will not really use much of. You know, cars are going to be driven without you know, fossil fuel and all that. You know, so we need to start looking and growing our economy beyond oil. And agriculture is constant. People must eat, you know, and then these are products, of course, too, that can be, you know, exported and then turned into other manufactured, you know, items. So it's a way to go. Indeed.
As we round up this segment of the show, let's project. We all know we are moving into a new year. IMF, World Bank, lots of projections, 1.9% growth. Even our ERGP, beautiful projections. What are your expectations as we move ahead?
I like to be positive. The budget, like I've said a couple of times, is quite ambitious. And then again, we're not a people that lack proper planning. Where we've always had issues, you know, is in the area of execution. Yeah. Now, if you know, want to drive this economy, you drive it from the area of growing your infrastructure. I'm glad that it's still not good enough, but the allocation for the fiscal leg, right, is quite okay compared to previous budgets. So I want to see a lot of, you know, infrastructures being developed. You know, that will kickstart, you know, the momentum, you know, the drive towards economic development for this country. You know, and so I'm positive. You cannot help but be positive and hope that the ideas postulated in the budget, which, like I said, is a document of intent, you know, can actually be marshaled and executed. You know.
Indeed, Osilama Okuofu, thank you very much for your time. Economist, giving your views on business tonight. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.